Hey everyone, this is Riven Blade with a review of AEW Dynamite for August 4th, 2021. So this is the homecoming episode after 4 weeks of AEW going back on the road with Road Rager, Fyter Fest Night 1 and 2, and Fight for the Fallen. They come back to Daly's Place, and I gotta say, I'm a little bit tired of seeing this setup. I think it's a little bit too soon to come back, but you know what? Overall, this was still a pretty fun episode of Dynamite, and it was largely bolstered by the main event and what happened in it. So, let's start things off. Again, they're back in Daly's Place. Welcome home. And Juventud Guerrero starts things off, taking on Chris Jericho in his third labor. And these guys got off to a pretty rocky start. It looked like they weren't really in sync. They couldn't find the groove that they needed to work well with each other. I don't know if Juvi was too fast, if Jericho was maybe anticipating moves to happen later or sooner, but there was something a little bit off in the first 2 or 3 minutes, but they did pick it up in the second half. They found themselves a little bit more, and it ended with a tremendous Judas effect off the top rope, kind of like a super Judas effect off the top rope into Juvi's face. So overall, this was a mixed match, but the ending is what I'm going to remember, and you know what? That's fine with me. Juvi physically looked tremendous. Jericho tried ripping off his mask at one point. There was a top rope attempt at the walls of Jericho as well. And overall, this was a decent little match. And afterwards, Wardlow is revealed to be the fourth and final labor before MJF for Chris Jericho. And that's happening next week. And I don't know how they messed this up, but clearly MJF said he's going to be the ref in the match next week, which sounded like really interesting. And commentary also said that he's going to be the ref. And then later on in the episode, it turns out that he's just going to be ringside. So somebody messed up somewhere. Wires got crossed. Communication got mixed up. And I don't know why I didn't see this mentioned more in terms of like the level of what? Like, how did that happen online in other circles where people are talking about this show? Honestly, I know that a lot of people are going to be like disappointed because they expected like Lance Storm or Ken Shamrock or somebody like this to show up for Jericho's next labor because of the way they've been kind of building up the surprises. But you know what? MJF unleashing his bulldog on Jericho before he can get to him feels right, and it's the same thing that they did with Cody, right? Before MJF had to or could face off against Cody. Cody had to beat Wardlow in a cage match. So anyway, similar idea here. I've been enjoying these labors of Jericho more than I thought I would, and I'm looking forward to the final one to see how Wardlow and Jericho do in a match together. All right, next up, so we're continuing this Andrade El Idolo story with the Lucha Brothers and Pac. Pac isn't there. His travel plans got canceled. I wonder by who. And the Lucha Bros are once again invited to join Andrade El Idolo's kind of, faction. And there's some Spanish spoken, which I didn't understand by Penta, and that's fine because it sounded really intense. Just says, Penta says no. So Alex Abrahantes lets us know that. So I'm really curious to see Andrade's, first real match. I know he had the match against Seidel, but I want to see kind of like a feud type match that he's going to have in AEW because I want him to deliver. I've seen him a lot, wearing these cool clothes, looking really dapper in the shades and everything, but I want to see what he can do in a big time match, not only on Dynamite, but at a pay-per-view. Probably is the next time we're going to see him wrestle. Anyway, next up, we jump to another story segment where Adam Page, he confronts the Dark Order and he says, he's the one who started this whole thing with Matt and Nick, and he's the one who needs to end it by himself. He basically says that their friendship is going to take a break. And I guess this is how they're going to extend this storyline, by having Hangman go out on his own, despite his friends saying, you don't have to do this on your own. And he's saying that, yes, he does. And Evil Uno says maybe this is what he needs, this is what he wants, and they're going to respect his wishes to kind of step away from them. this is kind of a rocky friendship, and I don't know if Hangman's doing the right thing, but I'm here for this ride. I'm here for Hangman and Kenny and for their eventual collision course when Hangman is going to take that title, because if he doesn't, what are we doing here, people? What are we doing here? It might not be at All Out, probably won't be at All Out. If it is, I'll be surprised, and very pleasantly so, but if it's not, that's okay too, and looking forward to seeing how these things develop and how the Dark Order is booked moving forward without Hangman, being a primary part of their storyline right now. Next up, so we get a surprise trios match that was announced kind of like the day before Dynamite. We have 2.0, the former Ever Rise from NXT, and Daniel Garcia taking on the trio of Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin. And this really felt like an excuse to get 3 of AEW's biggest stars, 4 actually. Sting is at ringside in this thing as well. Just the star power is off the charts on one side, really lopsided. And that's kind of what it was. It was a way to debut these 3 new guys in AEW, put them straight to Dynamite. So obviously Tony Khan must have trusted them and seen something special in them. And after seeing them in this match, I kind of get it. Daniel Garcia in particular had a wonderful exchange with Darby Allin near the start of this match. The guy's very quick, very agile, very smooth. I've heard him compared to like a young Bryan Danielson because of his physique and the way that he kind of can snake his way in and out of holds. So you know what? Show me more of this guy. And next week, actually, they've announced that Garcia is going to have a singles match against Darby Allin. And I'm really looking forward to that because I really enjoyed their exchange in this match. And this was a fun trios match, honestly. There was a lot to like about it. In particular, you had this guy, you know what? I'm sorry, I haven't bothered to learn their names yet. He meets Sting on the outside, says, "Oh my God, you're the real Sting," before Darby just comes flying at him and decks him into the barrier. So this was a tremendous moment. Sting, just look at him. He just does not flinch, just keeps standing there like a statue. He's seen it all in his career, so you can understand why he would not react over here. Okay. Anyway, Darby wins this by hitting the coffin drop on Daniel Garcia. And look at this. This is kind of wild to think of all 4 of these guys in the ring at the same time. Like if you had told me in 2014 that Sting would be in the ring with Jon Moxley and then Eddie Kingston and then some guy with half his face painted as well, and Bryce Remsburg of all people, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So anyway. Look at that mean mug. These guys are just having a blast. This was just a fun match. And even though it wasn't like much story development per se, outside of, I guess, getting more of a spotlight on 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, who's going to continue getting a spotlight next week, this was just a fun match and something cool for the crowd to enjoy as well. Next up, we get a Brian Cage promo. We get some Ricky Starks interspersed in here as well. He says he never wanted to be part of Team Taz. He never asked for the FTW belt, and that he's going to basically beat up Ricky Starks. And that's kind of it. And Ricky says that, he was not Team Taz material. And this is just building up their eventual match, which is going to happen maybe at All Out. We'll see. I'm curious to see how crowds react the next time these guys are in a ring together, because the last time it didn't go so well for Brian Cage in terms of the fan reaction that maybe the bookers were hoping for, with him being booked as the babyface and Ricky being booked as the heel. But Brian's got some work to do. I think he can get there. He's done it in Impact before, so let's see if he can make it happen here as well. Ricky Starks is really great as well. Next up, this skit with all of the Easter eggs for those of us who are wondering who is next to come into AEW. So you got the Ric Flair robe, you got the Bollywood Boys Butter Chicken Forever shirt, you got the nods to Bray Wyatt with the Young Bucks wearing their shirts. You have the Cookie Monster shirt on Kenny, the CM Punk, who once said that the CM either stands for Cookie Monster or Chick Magnet. And it was just a lot of like fun little Easter egg teasing, Marvel style stuff. The most impressive thing about this whole skit was them hitting the basket. Like they did this all in one take. Nick hitting a trick shot from behind the backboard. Though that's not easy to do if you've ever tried doing that in basketball. And this was just really fun, really impressive. And the Elite are basically saying there are no challengers left, with Nick referencing Troy, saying, "Is there no one else?" and doing kind of like a really goofy voice. And I know these guys are divisive. And quite frankly, I'm not a huge fan of the Good Brothers being part of this, but maybe that's part of the point. So I think they're doing their job because I want to see all of these dirtbags get their butts kicked eventually. And that's really all you can ask for from a bunch of heels. And yeah, this was a fun little segment. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Next up, we got Christian taking on the Blade, and they make it very clear that if Christian wins this match, he's going to move up in the rankings and potentially even become the #1 contender. This was a Christian match. I mean, it was 10 minutes. I was more impressed with what he did with Matt Hardy, but you know what? His reverse DDT looks so good, so smooth. So I actually enjoyed this match as well. It looks like Christian, like with every move, like he's just struggling and fighting, and everything looks like it's like a grueling war. So I kind of enjoy that aspect of his character and of his matches, and the Blade is quite good too. Anyway, this kind of all ends when the ref is distracted by the turnbuckle and trying to tie it up again after the Blade unties it, gets the brass knucks from the other turnbuckle, turns around, tries using it on Christian, who just rams him with a spear and wins with the 1, 2, and the 3. So yeah, Christian picks up a win. Fans are moderately into Christian, I would say, at this stage. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Next up, this promo was amazing. I love this. I love Santana and Ortiz talking about how they knew, how they told everyone, how they told FTR from the last match that they had with them, that if they don't win, doesn't matter if they win, if they lose, they were going to leave them with scars, and they absolutely did. Dax talks about war. He talks about this no longer being worth it, but it is worth it to have one more match against Santana and Ortiz after they almost killed Cash Wheeler. There's one shot of just like his skin being pulled by the turnbuckle where he got caught, where his arm got caught, and it was pretty gnarly. I guess that's the word to use in this case. I love Dax. I love his intensity, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these two teams together again. Like I said, I enjoyed their first match before the injury happened, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can put together next time. And I don't know if it's going to happen on Dynamite. I don't know if it's going to happen at All Out. The Bucks are saying there are no tag challengers, so maybe one of these teams is going to go after them. I'd prefer if it was Santana and Ortiz personally, but I guess we'll see. I'm just really excited at the prospect of these teams just mixing it up, and they can cut promos on each other all day because their intensity is off the charts, and they all seem laser focused on making this a really cool program right now. Next up, Britt Baker comes out, and she is quickly interrupted by Red Velvet. Yes, I'm so happy to see this. I knew it was going to happen this year. She's been being primed for this position all year, for months now on Dark and Elevation, and here she is confronting Britt. And Britt says that, you know what are you doing out here? I beat you in 3 minutes. And Red Velvet says that was when I was, enhancement talent. Now I'm 20-3 or whatever her record is, and she's won 7 matches in a row. So bringing in the wins and losses into stuff, and I'm sure some people are going to have issue with her mentioning herself as like enhancement talent, but you can work that into kayfabe, saying that she's like a weaker opponent who is just there to prop up the stronger face opponent. That everybody knows, essentially. I love Red Velvet's intensity. I thought she sounded nice and good and strong on the mic here. And Britt also just being Britt, essentially. So she stomped Red Velvet to end this, and then kind of choked her with the crutch, Reba's crutch, and left her laying. And this is a match that is now probably the main event of the first AEW Rampage episode happening next Friday. Really looking forward to that. Red Velvet deserves it. Next, we go to the back. Fuego del Sol is brought in by Chavo Guerrero to Andrade. He says, you know what? The Lucha Bros don't want to work for us. They said no, but here's a guy who does. And then he tells him to shine Andrade's shoes. Fuego del Sol, S-O-L-E. It's not an original joke, but I like it. It's clever in a dad joke kind of way that I enjoy. All right, so is there any way that Fuego's not signed at this point? He's got to be, right? I mean, you have to imagine, unless that becomes part of a bigger story, I imagine he is part of AEW at this point. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if Soul's going to continue being part of Andrade's crew. I don't know if Andrade's going to bring in more people, because it seems like he's going to have to, right? So in order to combat the Death Triangle, right now it's just him. And maybe Fuego is going to get in there, and maybe they need one more person. Is Chavo going to lace him up again to take on Death Triangle? Who knows? But I'm intrigued enough. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing the next stage of this storyline and where they go with it. All right, Hangman comes out with Tony Schiavone. He says he's been wanting to say something to Nick and Matt, and he's needed to say something to them for a long time, but he doesn't get a chance to do it. The full Elite squad come out and confront him, and they start beating up on him, basically. They hit a magic killer on Hangman. The Dark Order come out, but Evil Uno and Stu Grayson stop them, saying, hey, this is what he wanted. He said, don't help him. He wants to do this on his own. This is something he needs to go through, a trial, I guess, that he needs to pass through and everything like this. And they also hit a bunch of BTE triggers, followed by the belt right in his face after Kenny says, this is the last time you're going to see this thing. And again, if you don't think this is all headed towards Hangman taking the title off Kenny eventually, I don't know what to tell you. This didn't seem like it was a way of writing Hangman off. I know some people are saying that. He did take a bunch of BTE triggers. He took a magic killer. He took a belt to the face. But his eyes were still open at the end. I would have had him stretchered out if they were really serious about writing him off at this point. And what are we doing this close to All Out, doing this angle with Hangman? I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of curious to see what develops in the weeks to come, because this seems weird to put all of the spotlight on Hangman and then have him just vanish. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, the heels stand strong, stand tall at the end of this, and Hangman is left laying. So let's see what's next in his story. Best story in wrestling, I would say. Next up, Dan Lambert, that guy, he's back. I thought he was just going to be a one-off, and it was just a thing for the fans to cut a promo. He is actually a hell of a promo. He got the blackout hit on him by Lance Archer several weeks ago, and now he says he's going to come back to reveal a truth about Archer, essentially, and that he's going to bring backup next week. So I guess he's tied into MLW. This is what I've read, and people are talking about, who is it, King Mo or somebody like that coming in maybe with him. I guess we'll see. So yeah, more Forbidden Door stuff going on here. Next up, Miro versus Lee Johnson, and the low-key MVP of this whole episode, the sign guy in the back left there, saying, "Dear God, please tell your favorite champion not to kill Big Shotty. We like him. Also, thank you for blessing him with a double-jointed wife," or something like that. Anyway, good stuff. This was a really good showcase for Lee Johnson. Miro was kind of toying with him in the beginning, letting him kind of just, hit him, kick him, chop him, and just kind of shrugging it off. So Lee couldn't get a lot of offense together that was actually effective. And commentary mentioned it as well. Like, you can't win a striking battle with Miro when you're the size of Lee Johnson. And they were, essentially right near the end. Anyway, there's a dangerous moment here where, Lee does a tope con hero over the top, and he gets caught by Miro, but Miro kind of slams him down in a pseudo powerbomb and kind of drops him on the back of his neck. Both guys, I'd say this is kind of Lee overshooting things a little bit, so thankfully nothing bad came of this, but it was a little bit scary for about half a second there. Anyway, near the end, Lee Johnson hits about 5 straight super kicks to stagger Miro, and it looks like he's going to mount some offense together, and he gets the majority of the second half of this match, and all it takes is for Miro to land one kick to the face, which staggers Lee massively, and then he gets put into the game over, which the crowd loves, by the way. They love chanting game over alongside Miro, and he picks up the victory, says he forgives Lee Johnson, gives him a hug. It's nothing personal at the end. Love this character touch, and then offers up his title to God, as one does when they are God's favorite champion. Yeah, good stuff. Not sure who's going to take out Miro. Not sure who can at this point. I wonder if they're going to go outside of AEW to provide a credible challenger for him at All Out, or whether we're finally going to get that Orange Cassidy match that still hasn't happened. Maybe too soon for that. I feel the people that should take the belt off Miro are either Jungle Boy or Orange Cassidy, so I don't know if it's the right time to do that Orange Cassidy match just yet. And if you're screaming at me, why would Orange Cassidy need the title? I guess he doesn't, but maybe something to validate him a little bit more. This could be the title to do it. Next up, we get the commentary team announced for Rampage. So it'll be Taz, Excalibur, Chris Jericho, and Mark Henry. I am rarely a fan of large commentary teams. I am a huge fan of Excalibur and Taz on Dark. Jericho has learned to do a good job as well. Before he was kind of too in your face, but he's kind of learning to rein it in when necessary. I haven't heard anything from Mark Henry, so looking forward to being surprised by him. But yeah, they're really loading up the star power on the commentary table for Rampage, and I guess trying to, really put all of their eggs into this basket and see how it goes. Next up, Christian in the back with Tony Schiavone, for some reason, starts singing the Golden Girls theme, because that's relevant in 2021. Christian revealing his dad age, I guess. Anyway, he says, he is better than good. He is elite, that he is the number one contender. He didn't come here just to, have fun in the sun, but he's here to basically win titles. That's what he's here for, and I think he's targeting Kenny. I didn't hear a strong crowd reaction when he was giving this promo. I'm not sure if the people in the arena heard it or not, but again, I think they have a lot of work to do with Christian, especially if they want to make him a credible challenger for Kenny. All Out is still a month away. They still have, I believe it's like 4 Dynamites and 3 episodes of Rampage at least before All Out comes. So they've got some time, but I'm wondering if they're going to give this Christian match on maybe the second episode of Rampage. That would be pretty, special, I guess. And then they have something else lined up for All Out that maybe we don't know about yet. I feel like Tony has something in his back pocket that we just haven't learned about yet for All Out and that title picture. I know that reports are saying Hangman is out of All Out altogether, but I think there's still a chance that maybe he's not, based on how things are going. So we'll see how that all turns out. Next up, I really liked this match. Layla Hirsch versus The Bunny. These women really laid into each other in this match with forearms, with kicks, and Layla looked great. She's had a fantastic week of AEW television and YouTube, because she had a really nice match against Diamante as well, which I think everyone should check out on Dark, definitely. And I love the Hirsch for Team Taz sign in the back, because most of us have been saying that for a while now. She actually came out with the best friends for this one, which was kind of cool to have backup for her, so that nobody gets involved from the House of Hardy, the Hardy family office. That's what it is. All right. And anyway, I really enjoyed this match, particularly this just knee to the face of the Bunny from Layla. I thought maybe it was a little bit too close for comfort. You could see the Bunny's eyes, like maybe she did look a little dazed, and commentary made note of it. And the end of this match is kind of the Bunny keeps escaping the cross arm breaker by Hirsch until the end, when she kind of rolls over into the middle, does this cool little counter, and does get it on and wins the match. A really strong showing from Layla Hirsch. She got in a nice German, as she usually does in her matches, and a nice showing from the Bunny as well, who's proving to be a consistent worker in the women's division at this point. And at the end, Camille comes out, because she is the NWA Women's Champion, and this was a number 1 contenders match for the NWA Championship. And this is how you sell a match with one image. This was just a very striking visual. I love it. And, David versus Goliath. The height difference is incredibly pronounced here, and I don't think Layla's winning the NWA Women's Championship, but I think that should be an interesting match. I haven't checked out NWA in a long time. I've heard they're not doing so hot in terms of the product that they're putting on, but you know what? They kind of sold me on this match just with this one visual, because I really enjoy Layla Hirsch, and I want to see how she does against someone who is this tall. All right. Whoops. Sorry about that, everybody. And next up, the Jade brand. They say they're coming back to wrestling. Jade's, of course, been very busy getting sponsorships, going to Hollywood, talking to important people, and she's going to be on Elevation next week. So Jade is going to get back in the ring, and which is great. She needs to get in some more reps anyway. All right, main event time. This was the thing that everyone's talking about, as they should be, because it was just booked and presented wonderfully. Malakai Black is a true star in AEW. He is automatically vaulted into like a top 5 position in the company for me with this presentation, with this intro, with this black metal music and the lights going out and the pagan get up and the skull, and it's just I love it. It's my aesthetic in a way, you know. I really enjoy just the way he looks. I really enjoy the way he fights. He's so quick in the ring. And this kind of like, they call it, I guess, Dutch Muay Thai that he has. Like his boots are really cool. Just the black shorts look really cool. He just looks like a badass. There's no other way to put it. And he had an answer to everything that Cody gave him. He basically countered all of Cody's big moves. He countered the crossroads with like a knee to the head. Cody was going to do, a top rope move, and he just came in there with a quick kick to the face. Cody went through the table. You've seen this. It was just really tremendous. A great way to kind of put someone over. This is why you have Cody in AEW. This is why you have Cody win important feuds like he did against Anthony Ogogo, to build him up, to set him up so that when he does lose, it means something. And when he does lose, it is, significant. Because after that table spot, he rolled back into the ring and Black just kicked him in the face, stepped on his chest with his boot. 1, 2, 3. Jim Ross lost his mind. He still got a few good calls in him, and this was one of them. It was a legit shocking moment. Of course, hearkening back to the squash match against Brody Lee, and I loved it. This was how to make a star in one night. I mean, what else can you say, really? Like, Malakai Black is a star in AEW. He is a star in pro wrestling. I can't wait to see what else he does in the promotion. And I think the sky's the limit for this guy. If they decided next week, they said that he's going to be on a championship path, I would buy it, because he's that damn good. He's been presented that damn well so far. And I don't think there's anything that can stop him from doing it. So yeah, I loved this. This was tremendous stuff. And yeah, the crowd was shocked, as you can see. After the match, Tony does his best Joe Rogan impersonation by going into the ring and to try to talk to a potentially concussed opponent, a concussed fighter. Cody gives kind of a rambly, slow speech, slow promo. And I don't know, maybe he was thrown for a loop here. If you listen to his homecoming media call, there was a part of that where he basically just repeated the things that he said in that media call in this promo. So he talked about, legacy as a funny thing. He talked about the dreams that he had when he was a kid and that he wanted to win his dad's belt and things like this. He talked about the formation of AEW. He mentioned the infighting between the EVPs, whether that was true or not, who knows. And he kind of says that this is it, that he's going to retire. And he takes off a boot. He's going to take off the second one, but then Malakai Black comes in through the back, whacks him in the back with a crutch, puts him down, and this was just tremendous stuff, honestly. Like, this built off of Black's promo from the Road 2 special, where he said Cody is obsolete, that it's sinful, that he's still trying to be this person, and he should just get out of the spotlight, essentially. And that's what Cody's going to do for a while. I know he's probably going to go off to film the Go Big Show or whatever it is, and Black's got his boot. I don't know if he's retiring Cody Rhodes or maybe he's going to hold on to that until Cody comes back. We'll see how it goes. But this was overall a really well done angle. And sorry, guys, if you're one of those people who believes that this was Cody stealing the spotlight from Malakai Black, no. Like, Black came in, he utterly destroyed him. He stopped the thing that everyone who dislikes Cody complains about Cody for. And the show ended with purely a focus on Malakai Black, even ending with his face. So, and the crowd and audience asking, not the audience, I apologize, the announce team asking, you know, did Malakai Black just retire Cody Rhodes? This was a massive, tremendous moment for Malakai Black. He delivered, he was given the opportunity, he seized it, and the sky is the limit for this guy. And if you're wondering what those things are, that's my rating for the show. I'm giving it 3 potatoes and a bat, because bats are cool and dark, like black metal and like Malakai Black. Good episode. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of the summer has in store for AEW. And we're about a week and a half away now from CM Punk appearing in AEW, which is, yeah, that's going to be something. All right, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, turn on notifications, and leave a comment down below. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it.